we continue structures, and we said it is primarily the degree of competition that a firm faces that changes their decisions on the price and on the output. In Unit 17, we studied the market structure called the perfect competition and the assumptions under which we decided as the what price will be set. Now, under perfect competition, in the short run, there will be firms which will be making losses and still continuing to be in the industry. Others which cannot recover even the variable costs would shut down. There will be firms which are be getting supernormal profits. But in the long run, generally people are getting the normal profits, which is in economics. We include it in the part of the cost, and that is. Now, in this unit 18, we study the market structure monopoly. Monopoly industry is an industry with only one seller. Mono is one. Product supplied is unique, which has no close substitute, which is different from the perfect competition. In perfect competition, we had products homogeneous. The customer did not distinguish between the product made by A or by B. In monopolistic competition, we discussed there a differentiated product. In monopoly, the product is unique. There is no close substitute. There are barriers to the entry or restrictions to the entry into the industry. These restrictions could be patent rights, as one example, technical or restrictions. That means it requires a lot of outlay. The firms are operating high scale, so entry of a new firm into that field will require tremendous resources unless he is willing to take that risk. The entry is restricted. Firm has considerable price control. Since he is the only one in the market, he has a unique product with no substitutes. So he can control the price. In perfect competition, a firm is a price taker. Here in monopoly, the firm is a price maker. The monopolist is assumed to maximize profit in the long run by producing output which is less than the optimal output. What are the sources of monopoly? Some which we covered. First, the rivals are, or the firm is producing at a very huge scale, and it is enjoying the economies of scale, which will be different, which will be very difficult, for the competitors to match. Products are different. It is not a homogeneous product, and this product is preferred over the products of the rivals. There's absolute cost advantage, enormous capital requirements, normally for monopolies, which is a barrier for the others to enter. Or in sometimes there's a control over inputs, say minerals, which are required, and you got the license, the other hasn't. There are legal restrictions, there are strategic barriers. So these barriers will make your position safe as a monopoly where you can almost dictate the price. These monopolies can occur because the government has granted you some kind of a monopoly situation, like railways in India. Post and telegraph used to be a monopoly. Today, of course, the couriers have come up with quite close substitute products. Innovations, efficiency, resource control are the other reasons which make the monopolies possible. Now we look at the price and output determination in a market situation where he is a single producer, others cannot match either the product produced by him or the resources available to him, the licenses available with him. The monopolistic demand curve will be sloping downwards. That is a typical demand behavior. More is demanded at less prices and less is demanded at higher prices. So obviously, looking at the demand curve behavior, the average revenue and the marginal revenue are not only different, but there is a set of relationship between the two. Now, what is the proxy? Where the quantity that he produces he is deriving the maximum profit. Formula remains the same. Marginal cost curve hasn't changed much. Marginal revenue is a steep curve. In perfect competition, it is a horizontal, absolutely straight. Here is a pretty steep, downwards to the right. The formula remains the same. The maximization profit will be at the place where this is the quantity where he'll be gaining the maximum profits. But will he produce at this? We will see. This may not be the position. He may be producing a suboptimal quantity. The profit maximization is the same, and look at the amount of profit that he is making being a monopolist. This is the kind of super profits, and here we taking the economic profit as part of the cost. This is in addition, this is the super profit area shown in the blue, which a monopolist is likely to earn. Now, what does he do to increase his profits? He resorts to price discrimination. What is price discrimination? It is different prices are charged in different market or in the same place from different customers. There has to be certain conditions to be fulfilled so that a person can charge different prices for the same product. 3 conditions. First, the firm must have some control over the price. Quite often it has to be a substantial control. Next, it must be possible to group different markets in the price elastic. In each. And third, the firm's market must be separable. You can distinguish between the markets, and the markets cannot be merged. The 3 kinds of price discrimination that a monopolist can exercise. The first degree of discrimination is charging maximum possible price for each unit of output. This is not a normal case and normally not resorted to only for theoretical discussion since the demand curve is negatively sloped. He can charge different price for different units of the output. This is the first degree of discrimination. Next, we come down to the second degree of discrimination. Now, the second degree of discrimination, here the pricing is done on the basis of quantities of output purchased by an individual consumer instead of setting different prices for each product. This is possible in cases where the services are metered. You charging different price for initial some units and a different price beyond a basic limit. For example, electricity, telephone, gas, etc. Third degree of discrimination is the most common. It separates consumer or markets on the basis of their price elasticity of demand. You could segment the market based on factors like geographical separation, nature of business, personal characteristics of the consumer, say adult, children, men, women, etc. The higher price is charged in market 1, where demand is relatively less elastic and consumers are less sensitive to prices. We'll explain it with the help of a diagram. So this here he is charging different prices of the same product in different markets which are segregated, separated from each other because they have different elasticities. A little price change in a less elastic demand is not going to increase the demand, whereas in a market which has a more elastic demand, change in the price is going to make a difference. Now we discuss the international price discrimination, also called dumping. Under this type of dumping, the monopolist sells the commodity at a higher price at home, a lower price abroad. The reason is the market demand curve is less elastic at home, whereas abroad it is more elastic. Selling at lower price, he can compete with international other producers and earn profits.